All right, so this first session that we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about the Techathon, which is going to be an event that I'll explain in just a moment. But first, by way of introduction for me, all right, so my name is Junbei Po, Sunny Bonani to all in the room. I am a senior lecturer in the Urban Spatial Analytics program at the University of Pennsylvania, and I have been involved in the field of civic technology for the last 10 or 15 years at this point. In the 2020 ICAT program, we ran a program called a Techathon, and we have not done it since then. The 2021 was our first, and this is going to be our second. So what is a Techathon? The Techathon is a 6-week virtual student competition that provides an opportunity to design and build a project in accordance with the values of appropriate technology. And in a moment, I'm going to have Dr. John Therkin up to talk a little bit more about what those values are and what we mean when we say appropriate technology. But this year, the theme is in line with the theme of the ICAT conference, which is Building Sustainable Rural and Urban Cities for Economic Growth, Enhancing Health, and Eradicating Poverty. All of you in the room probably are aware of this, but so that you know, we are live streaming this out to participants online as well. Because the Techathon is a virtual 6-week event, it's going to continue beyond the ICAT conference and is going to involve students from all over the world. So any current undergraduate or graduate student is eligible to compete on a Techathon team, and teams within the Techathon must consist of between 2 and 6 students. The team should be multidisciplinary and be multi-institution, but most importantly, each team should involve students from multiple countries. So there should be at least 2 students on each team that are studying in different countries. The projects that are involved in the Techathon can span across any area of technology. Much as we've seen in the conference, there's so many areas of technology that appropriate technology is applicable to. And these are some of the ones that we've seen at the conference, but environment and agriculture, water and sanitation, health, energy and materials, and so on, including information technology, which, at least in the Western world, is what we often think of when we say technology. But we just want to acknowledge that technology, in this case, encompasses so much more than just information and computer technology. So in terms of key dates, our kickoff is today. We are currently at the kickoff session, and we're going to be framing the concept of appropriate technology for everyone online, as well as providing details about some of the judging criteria and, for that matter, answering questions from participants and potential participants. I hope that some of the folks in the room who may not have already signed up for the Techathon will consider it after this session. After today, for the next week and a half or so, participants will be working online to form teams around project ideas, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. And then between December 8th, and the deadline for forming teams is December 8th, but between December 8th and January 12th, the teams that are formed will be working on defining their project scope and developing a detailed design or prototype according to the idea that they've agreed to work on. On January 12th is the deadline for project submissions, and during the week of January 18th, we're going to announce awards, hopefully in conjunction with our INET Cabral Award as well. So right now what I would like to do is invite Dr. John Therkin up to give you a more rounded idea of what we're referring to when we say appropriate technology. And Dr. Tharakan is another founding member of the International Network of Appropriate Technology, as am I. So he's going to provide some remarks now. All right. So, there we go. You should be able to just use the arrow keys.
Thank you very much, Junbei, and good morning, everybody. My name is John Tharakan, as Junbei said, and I'm going to give you a little introduction to talk about appropriate technology, both from a historical as well as a sort of philosophical perspective, and speak about how we feel appropriate technology can address issues of social justice, capacity building, and sustainable development, particularly focused on the theme of this conference. So I'm going to step back a little bit and let's talk about how the global north got to be where it is. It got to be where it is through mostly unsustainable development. What you see on the bottom here is the environment from which all goods and services are drawn to build society, industry, and economy. And that red arrow is all the wastes that get dumped back into the environment in order to build those societies. And the global north did a great job in the past 200 years of developing very well, but that did not happen in the rest of the world. Nevertheless, the global north decided to enforce some kind of a development paradigm, which was mostly paternalistic and looked sort of top down on the developing world, on the global south, ignoring its indigenous knowledge systems and what had been achieved to date. And we feel definitely that this is not appropriate. It marginalizes and devalues and dismisses indigenous knowledge. And for the most part, it really doesn't result in development, but results in underdevelopment. So what we speak about when we talk about appropriate technology is providing empowerment to people that will allow them not just to survive, but to flourish. And when we say flourish, we mean to live a good life. And what are the scientific grounds for conditions for survival and flourishing? Obviously, all of the things that we consider as basic and take for granted. Clean air, clean water, nutritious food, healthcare infrastructure, and education infrastructure, connection to the World Wide Web, and with all of this, we flourish. But do we have all of that? Well, actually, we don't. But appropriate technologies, we hope, we look at technologies that are focused on empowering people and that are basically suited to provide these basic requirements and needs that will enable communities to flourish. So as examples of appropriate technology, I can just scroll through a few. We can have things as simple as, say, a treadle pump to help farmers who are off the grid irrigate their fields. We can talk about appropriate technology for sanitation, appropriate technology for energy generation, and perhaps from a historical perspective, one of the first appropriate technologists was Gandhi. And what he talked about is production by the masses, not production for the masses. Of course, we have to keep in context where this was happening, and just speaks to the political importance of appropriate technology. So in terms of the relevance of appropriate technology in the third decade of the 21st century, what we see as a historical development was that the first technologies were developed to satisfy the needs of the community and enhance the community's capabilities to survive, endure, and prevail. Subsequent technological developments addressed other needs. We saw a shift from addressing human needs to addressing needs solely for profit. Hence, the needs began to be created as required by capital. And so to what use this incredible and amazing creativity and technological capability of humanity? Where has it gone? What has it resulted in? Well, it's resulted in a great quality of life for many billionaires on this planet. But at the same time, we have over 1 billion people who lack access to clean water. More than that have no access to sanitary waste disposal. More than that have less access to electricity, and even less have access to the World Wide Web. So what we need to do really is refocus technological development and implementation, and this is where appropriate technology becomes increasingly relevant for empowering these communities. And part of that for me as an engineering faculty is being able to re-engineer the engineer and engineering education to make it relevant to the South. So in terms of the philosophy of appropriate technology, we believe that communities must be empowered to access and manage the resources they need to be self-sufficient and sustainable. We trust and value the ability of local communities to shape and create their own vision for their future. And we believe transparency and participatory decision-making is central to the goal of social justice and sustainability. And we believe that working towards ecological sustainability must be a priority for all societies. And finally, we appreciate and respect the diversity and differences amongst ourselves, amongst our constituents and our collaborators. So there are numerous examples of successful appropriate technologies, which, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over, but I want to make clear that when we talk about appropriate technology, we're not limiting ourselves to low tech. Appropriate tech can be high tech. Appropriate tech can be large. Appropriate tech can be macro. It all depends on context, and it all depends on empowering people. So we talk about, for instance, commercially viable and scalable appropriate technologies. Some examples include the Amrit nanofilter developed in IIT Madras, biogas plants that have been commercialized and spread and dispersed across various national sectors, in-vessel composters. So there are numerous examples of appropriate technologies. There are also mechanisms and rather heuristics and algorithms that one can go about assessing and analyzing appropriate technologies and whether they are actually appropriate for the situation, going through social, health, technological, economic, financial, institutional, and environmental assessments, which basically, so that's the STEFI analysis that has been spoken about and written about before. And we want to focus on sustainable development. That is, development that does not detract from or reduce the ability of future generations to survive. And we always talk about the triple bottom line, the sustainability factor, addressing needs of the planet, society, and economy. And we have to be very thoughtful about how we measure sustainability and focus, in fact, on community well-being. And social justice is what we feel is the ethical goal of sustainable development. And this is where we have to apply justice principles across the board and be very broad about it. And how are we going to get there? Well, we're going to have to do a lot of change. We're going to have to go through political, social, environmental changes. We're going to have to change the way we engage with technology. And we really need to make a lot of changes. And part of the Techathon is to drive these changes and have people think about these changes. I'm going to skip through these because this is about equity, but part of the emphasis of appropriate technology is equity. We've talked about representational and social equity, but we need to expand that discussion to talk about resource equity, energy equity, information equity, and we have to translate that discussion, in fact, transcend the discussion from equity towards justice, where we have to be talking about justice from various aspects, not just civil and environmental justice, but talk about energy, resource, information, and technology justice. So, just to wrap up, this is some of the history of the conferences that the International Network on Appropriate Technology have done, going back to 2004 when Professor Trimble was a Fulbright Fellow at the National University of Science and Technology in Zimbabwe, and we had the first international conference, and now 20 years later we're very happy to be still going with the 11th here in Johannesburg, and so I've marked it up to the 2030 because that's at least how long I hope to be able to continue to participate. We've also conducted symposia and workshops in various parts of the world, and we have an international network that spans various countries and various continents. So what we here want to emphasize is technologies that are appropriate, not like many of these we see up on the screen right now. We have to focus on developing appropriate technologies that actually empower people. So thank you very much, and I'll pass the mic back over to Dr. Poe to continue the Techathon. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Therikin. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about some of the tools and resources that we'll be using in order to run the Techathon. First of all, each one of the projects that are carried out as part of the Techathon are going to need some definition, and so we're putting together templates for helping students to think about how to frame their project statements, as well as how to communicate those project statements to the judges who are going to be proxies for the folks who you would normally, the community partners and stakeholders that you would normally be presenting your projects to. So we have templates that we're going to be using for projects, for presentation videos, and so on. We are using as a rough framework the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. There is not so oftentimes, and in fact we've seen in a lot of the presentations at this conference, people have cited the UN SDGs as far as which SDGs are applicable to the work that they're doing. We don't think that's necessary as part of the Techathon or as part of appropriate technology projects. However, the SDGs serve as a useful shared understanding of some of the key issues that are facing humanity and our planet right now. And so we are using them as a framework in several portions of the Techathon as well. A quick note on the projects within the Techathon. There are a few key points that we want students to be thinking about when they're forming their projects and when they're carrying out their projects. In many of these cases, more than the technology that's actually being developed, the context is the key part when thinking about appropriate technology. So who is the community of focus? Who are the people who are primarily impacted by the project that you're taking on? What are the issues that are impacting that community of focus? Touching on the when, what, why, and how that contributed to creating the issues that community is facing in the first place. And then when approaching the final presentation for the Techathon projects, every project team will have to produce a final presentation, and we want those presentations to be approached as if they were appealing to a partner, for example, a government, an NGO, a funder, or community groups within the impacted community for necessary support. Because none of these projects that we've been talking about at the conference, none of these projects that are going to be designed during the Techathon are going to exist in a vacuum. So they always need some support from some sort of community partners. So we want that to be front and center when developing the presentations. It's less about the details of the technology and more about how you're communicating the partnerships with the necessary stakeholders in the community. When we are evaluating the Techathon projects, as we mentioned, this is a competition, but it's a collaborative competition, I like to think of it. So when we're evaluating the projects, there are a few key things that we're looking at. One, is the problem statement, the problem that's being solved, is it clear? Is the design that is being created to solve that problem creative? How impactful is the solution? So is the problem chosen a relevant one, and will the solution proposed actually have substantial impact? What's the quality and feasibility of the implementation plan? So this is what I was referring to on the last slide. Teams should show an awareness of the context of their design and pay special attention to the identification of appropriate partners to realize their solutions. What's the quality of the design or prototype? The prototype may be a detailed digital model or a physical product, or a working bit of code if it's a digital project that people are working on. But the nature of the prototype should fit whatever the proposed solution is. And then also, what's the overall quality of the video presentation and the relevance to appropriate technology? There are going to be prizes as part of this Techathon. For the first place team, the overall first place team, we are going to be awarding a prize of $1,200 US. For the overall second place team, there will be a $900 prize, and then there will be up to 3 area-specific prizes. For example, and these are going to be up to the judges, but for example, those may be along the lines of particular sustainable development goals. So there may be a poverty alleviation prize or what have you. And there will be up to 3 of those, each valued at $600 US. So for primary communications as a group, within the Techathon, we're going to be using the platform Google Chat, mainly because of its ability to have conversations organized into threads and the ability to pin documents and other files stored in the Techathon's Google Workspace. You'll receive, for people who register for the Techathon, you'll receive an invitation to 3 Google Chat spaces, one for announcements from the Techathon organizers, one for general discussion, where you'll be able to converse with the entire group of Techathon participants, and then one for posting project ideas and forming teams. So for those folks that are already registered, you will receive an email about invitations. In fact, I have those queued up, and I'm going to send them out now. And I have seen problems in the past in opening the link from the invitation email. And so I just wanted to go over quickly. And this information will be made available after both the slides as well as this presentation will be made available after this talk as well. But just in case you do run into an issue, the easiest way to accept an invitation is to download the Google Chat app or go to chat.google.com on your computer and follow the following workflow. First, when you open the app, you'll see you likely won't see any spaces available to you. But if you click the button down in the bottom right corner, you will get to a place where you can then browse for spaces available to you. And if you click Browse Spaces, you will see the actual spaces that you've been invited to. Again, this invitation is going to go out to all people who are registered for the Techathon. And if you have not yet registered for the Techathon, you can do so at techathon.appropriatetech.net. But finally, once you see those channels, you can click on one of them and then click Join in order to actually get in. Now, 2 of the channels are pretty straightforward. As I mentioned, the announcements channel is used primarily for one-way announcements from the organizers to all of the participants. If there are any important updates to the competition, they'll be announced in that space. The general discussion channel is for all of the participants to communicate with each other. And you can use it to ask other Techathon participants about different software recommendations or to share any thoughts or knowledge. And even though this is a competition, I encourage you to share freely with other participants. And now I want to talk about the final space for a moment, the space for project ideas. Now the project ideas space will be useful in particularly in forming teams. Remember I mentioned that team formation deadline is December 8th. And teams should be between 2 and 6 people and have at least 2 people studying in different countries, which means most of the participants, most of you, will probably be forming teams with people you don't know. Now, some of you may already have an idea or two that you think would make a good project for the competition, but some of you might not. And I do encourage everyone to try to come up with an idea. But if you do have an idea and are looking for other participants to join your team, you can post your idea in the Techathon Project Ideas channel. And in your initial post, include information, 1 or 2 sentences about your project idea, as well as the country flag emojis of any team members that are already attached to the project. And you want to be brief with your initial post, as other Techathon participants should be able to scan the list of ideas quickly to get a sense for what the idea is about. But you also want to make your idea engaging. So being successful in this competition will depend heavily on communication. And this is the first place where that communication is key. You're trying to pitch your idea in a compelling way that will give people a desire to find out more. So if you want to share more, you can do so in a thread, and I'll show you about that, how to do that later. So remember that all project designs for the Techathon have to be new work. If you have a project that already has significant progress on it, then you may want to consider submitting for funding from INAT for the INAT Projects Grant that I mentioned at the beginning of the talk. And I'll also share more information and a link to the project grant information at the end of this slideshow. So if you're joining a project, if you want to see what other ideas people have and join someone else's project, you can use this Techathon Project Ideas space and see an idea that looks interesting to you. You can reply to the idea author in a thread, and when you reply, give some indication of what interests you about the project or what skills you have to offer. So, in practice, this is what that might look like. Here we're looking at the Techathon Project Ideas space, and you can see I've joined the space and then added a brief project idea description. And this is actually one of several ideas that I'll share at the end of this presentation as well in the PDF that I upload of the presentation. But the idea reads, people often cite litter as one of Philadelphia's biggest issues. Philadelphia is my hometown, by the way. The problem has many factors, but a culture built around disposal versus reuse is certainly a large contributor. I want to design the next generation of reusable shopping bag that will entirely replace plastic bags in Philadelphia. So in addition to the text of this idea, I included a few emojis. The first one is an open lock so that people can see I'm looking for additional people to join my team. Next, say that I and another colleague of mine from school will be working on this project. So I include 2 US flags since that's where we're studying. Next, in order to add more details, I long click on the message and open up a menu, and then I click reply in thread, and now any other information that I post won't make the list of project ideas harder to scan. All right, so now that I've posted my idea, it's important that I don't simply expect that other participants are going to jump and join my project. If I want to get attention, I may choose to copy a link to this idea and post about it in the general discussion channel, asking whether anyone is still looking to join a project, especially if a couple of days have passed since I've posted the original idea. So for joining an idea, this is a view that you might see when you are when you're not posting your own idea, but you're looking through the other ideas and replying to someone else's. Here we can see that a participant has expressed interest in my idea and also indicated where they are from with their country flag as well. And so in my view, I can see that they've replied. And after I go through, me and that other person, we go through some back and forth, and we determine that they're a good fit for the project. I can edit the project idea and add their flag along with mine to the project idea, and then maybe also change the open lock to a closed lock so that people know, okay, we're not looking for any more participants on our particular project. So these are just communication, like little ways of communication that we're trying to make it easier for people to form project teams with people that they don't know yet, but will know soon. All right, so remember that the deadline for team formation is December 8th, 2024. That's in about a week and a half from today. And since this is an international competition, as long as it's December 8th somewhere in the world, then the deadline has not passed. We will share a form for entering team members and initial project ideas. And we understand that the scope of projects may change along the way, but this is an important deadline so that no team is waiting until the last moment in order to get their teams figured out. Also, if you think that this Techathon would be interesting for your colleagues who have not yet registered for the event, or for your students, or for anyone else, please send them to techathon.appropriatetech.net as soon as possible to register. We'll be uploading this presentation to YouTube and sharing the video link on the Techathon website, so newcomers will have access to this information as well. But from my experience, people will need as much time for team formation as they can get, so share it with your colleagues and your students soon. One last note on the spaces. Within the spaces that we've been discussing, we are going to be adhering to a code of conduct that is adapted. This code of conduct is adapted from the Python Software Foundation, which itself has been influenced by a few other code of conducts. And a copy of the code of conduct is available in the Techathon announcement space and the Techathon general discussion space. But some high-level points are that we acknowledge that for the Techathon to really work, we must be in community with each other. And we value the participation of each member of the community and want everyone to have a positive experience within this competition. So all participants are expected to show respect and courtesy to other participants throughout the Techathon spaces. This code of conduct will be enforced, and if there are any violations, we're encouraging participants to email techathon@appropriatetech.net. All right, so the first thing that people should do when they get into when they accept their invitations is introduce themselves in the general discussion channel with their name, their school or institution, their area and country of study, and the sustainable development goals that interest them most, and perhaps why. And try to limit it to just a few sustainable development goals. All of them are interesting to me, and I hope they're all interesting to you as well, but limit it to the ones that move you most. Okay. So, as I mentioned, there are a few sample challenge topics that I'm going to share within this presentation. I won't go through these in depth. One of them I already mentioned within the demonstration. Another here is focused around informal workers who are involved in trash and recycling within South Africa. And again, I will share all of this slideshow after this presentation. But another is designing a system for administration of effective mutual aid for urban U.S. residents. And then there's also another sample idea for designing low-cost, easy-to-replicate waste removal and processing technology. Now, all of these sample challenge ideas are, let's say, more complicated than the final idea is probably going to be. All of these ideas are, or rather none of these ideas are easy, but for all of our sakes, I choose to believe that they are possible to design around. I think one of the things that we want to encourage within the Techathon is big thinking. And even if your project is a small part of a larger goal, we do want people to be aware of the larger context, the larger goals within which they're designing. Okay. So I want to take a moment to thank everybody who's already registered for the Techathon. I want to take a moment to thank everybody for listening to the presentation. And also, I want to acknowledge some folks and organizations that have been helpful in putting this together. Of course, John Therikin for sharing his expertise in the area with you earlier in his presentation, and also Kara Lindstrom, whom you haven't heard from in this presentation, but her contributions to the design of the experience of the Techathon have been incredibly valuable, and you'll experience more of her work throughout the competition if you are registered. And then also I want to acknowledge the International Network on Appropriate Technology and the South African National Research Foundation, where the funding for this Techathon originated from. To make this a reality. So again, I will share these references and this entire slideshow on the techathon.appropriatetech.net site. But with that, are there any questions? There's a question.
Question.
Yes.
I'd like to know, that this is not the first hackathon. Are you sharing information on whatever project won the previous competition?
Yes. So for the folks online, the question was whether we'll be sharing information about the folks who won the previous competition. One of the links in these references is a playlist of not just the presentations from the winners of the first Techathon, but also the awards announcements. And in particular, I would highly recommend the first presentation, the first prize winner presentation, as a presentation to emulate. When you go to this playlist that is linked from the presentation, the first video within that playlist was the first prize winner at our first Techathon. And they did an excellent job in all of those points that I shared in our judging criteria, particularly in terms of framing their solution in relation to the larger context that it existed within. So the playlist of all of the winners from the previous Techathon will be available, link in this presentation when it is posted to the techathon.appropriatetech.net site.
Only
Yes?
project ideas are you also need the proof of concept.
I'm sorry, come again?
I'm saying the project, you only need the ideas, project ideas, or the proof of concept also.
So on December 8th, on that deadline, really what we're asking for is the teams, the names of the people on the team, and an initial conception of the project idea. The actual project, the proof of concept, isn't due until the end of the competition on January 12th. And again, like over the course between December 8th and January 12th, we fully expect that things are going to change within the ideas of the project team as they go forth in their design and their implementation of their proof of concept. You're going to learn new things. And based on those things that you learn, things will change. So the final version of your prototype of proof of concept isn't due until January 12th.
Sorry.
Yes?
I suppose the question is that she's bringing to you the time that the deadlines that you're proposing, especially for some parts of deadlines, if you are giving the deadline of 8, it's a team registration and so forth, and then January 12 is then the detailed design of all the prototype. That's the period that we are closed, and the teams. So are you expecting a product that can then be presented during that period? Most universities are closing down, and they're opening mid, some of them January. So there's no opportunity for the teams to even conceptualize things and work together and actually find a product that they can present. But I mean, maybe we are understanding it in different ways.
So if I understand your question or your comment is that most universities are off during this period, and so the students won't be available in person to collaborate on their ideas. I understand that, and to be honest, that's kind of a feature rather than a bug. Universities will be off, but bear in mind that the students are intended to collaborate with folks who aren't present with them anyway. Most of this collaboration should be done in a virtual manner. And so even though the students will be off from your universities, I do hope that they will continue to work on their projects, these projects, during their break from school. Yes?
Well, the reality, that's why we have to understand the community that we work with and the context, because when we come to this place, we are closed. Not only it's closed, some of the people go to their rural places where they struggle to have access and to connect to people. So we are here in Gauteng having connection, but when we close, we leave the space. And people go to their most remote places. Even in other countries, if I'm working with maybe people from other countries in the continent, they will not be in the cities around the time, and most part of the places then are not accessible technologically. That's what I'm thinking, that even if it is to collaborate virtually, creates a bit of a challenge because somebody who is sitting in a village town and no longer have access to connectivity.
I understand. And for the online, if I may summarize, I think the point is that with students being off for the break, a lot of the resources that they have in order to, in terms of fast internet connections, in terms of access to the general resources that they need in order to perform these kinds of projects may not be available to them at home when they go back. That is a fair point, and that is one that's one that I'm going to have to think about and get back to you on.
That is a global. It makes us think on it shouldn't need this project. The current one, it should go, but we need to think and conceptualize or improving it in the future on how we can actually get it.
Right. Yes, that's definitely something that we need to take into account in future iterations, and I will. Now that you mention it, it is weighing on me now that you mention it, and I will think what we can do for this one, but in future iterations, it is definitely something that we need to take into account.
Yes, I just wanted to comment on that because when you review these projects that were successful last time, if you use the same time frame, we had people from Siberia, from Sudan, from Ghana, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, and they worked around that issue with regard to connectivity in order to communicate. So it's something, obviously if you're going to a rural area, you're not going to have access there all the time, but even then they found ways of getting into the location because they schedule these meetings in but I think we will look at addressing that in the broader context of things.
Another question in the back?
About resource needs. If your team has come up with an excellent idea, but you don't have many resources, to what extent will the organizer of the hackathon assist in that regard?
So the question was about resource needs and if there are resource needs for project teams that are not available to the project teams, to what extent will the Techathon assist with those resources? Is that a fair summary? That is, I think that's something that is highly project specific and team specific. I think it would have to be on a case-by-case basis. One of the main things that we are assisting with and providing for teams is the digital spaces to connect in terms of our Google Workspace. In addition to the chat spaces, if people need access to video conferencing, or for that matter, audio conferencing software, and we can provide them that. In terms of other resources, I think it would have to be on a case-by-case basis that we evaluate whether there is anything that we can provide. Yes.
I'm looking at the structure of the. I'm looking at the structure of the program where it's going to be working. You said that we'll be connecting with different people all over the world that probably we've not even met before.
I'm sorry, that.
That we've not met before, and so it's, the interaction is going to be virtual. What about, I'm into energy, all right? And what about a situation whereby we need to build up a physical project? Like, we do the design, we do everything, but we need a prototype whereby we want to see if this project will work or not. So how do we do that? Because someone is in England, someone is here in South Africa, another person in Kenya, and we came up with a brilliant idea to build up this new technology. So how do we go?
Sure. Yeah, and the question, if I may summarize again, was for particular projects, you may want to, or you may need to, when you get to the prototyping stage, build something physically that is potentially sophisticated. Now, what I will say to that is, bear in mind that this is a 6-week competition. And so we are not expecting you to have especially since this is going to be new work, we're not expecting you to have a deeply sophisticated physical representation of your work. It would be wonderful for those cases where it's appropriate for you to have a physical representation of your work. But if you look at the winners from the previous competition, in fact, the first place winner was proposing a physical design, and what they did for their prototype was essentially to build a detailed digital version of that physical that physical construction, and give a tour of it in that way. If you can get to the point where some of the team members can work on an actual physical version of their prototype, all the better. And I understand that, with teams distributed across the world, not all of the team members would be able to work on those physical prototypes, but the knowledge sharing, the knowledge exchange that is happening within those teams in getting to the point of a physical prototype will still hopefully be useful and helpful, and in my experience has been useful and helpful in these cross-national teams.
Just to follow.
Okay, this will be the last comment because I do want to be mindful of our time as well.
I just want to know, do we have some sectional themes for the groups? Like, for example, you have some leading sections like, okay, this is energy, this is water, this is this is that. That people, when they come to register, they say, okay, I have applied for this energy, I applied for this, I'm waiting for this. Do we have something like that in the structure? And if you do, what about if a lot of people want water? A lot of people want energy. I mean, how do you solve that?
So, within the general, one of the things that we encourage participants to do when they sign up in the general discussion channel is to introduce their interests, well, themselves and their interests. Now, if a number of different students in a number of different teams want to work within the same general category of water or of energy, that is not a problem necessarily. There are a lot of projects that can be undertaken within any one of those general categories. In fact, if there are a number of students who are interested in the same general category as you, I would see that as a good thing, even if all of the projects that all of those individual students want to work on aren't the ones that are actually executed on during the Techathon. There will have to be some, and this, I will come back around to this. Forming teams is going to be hard because there's going to be some negotiation that you will have to do with other members of the other participants within the Techathon. And that is a challenge. But it's a challenge that you can do. Like it's something that everyone in this room is capable of. And it's going to be difficult, but everyone in this room is capable of it. And so that's just part of the challenge. Okay. So thank you again for your time, and let's move on with the program.